We lead with this. 16 people were killed in a horror crash on the N3 South in Pietermaritzburg early this morning. The multi-vehicle crash involved 2 trucks, a bakkie, 2 minibus taxis and 5 other cars. It's unknown how many passengers were in the taxi at the time. eNCA Senior Reporter Dasen Thathiah is on the ground following the story and joins us now live. In fact, Dasen, you aren't on the ground. You're currently in a helicopter giving us an aerial view of what's currently going on. Because of this horrific crash that's taken place, it seems as though traffic is backed up for kilometers on end. Tell us what you are seeing.
Heidi, that's right. In fact, I'm going to start here before we take you back to where that accident scene is. Would you believe it if I told you that we are probably more than 10, possibly even about 15 kilometers away from where the crash is? That's the traffic backlog that you're looking at now. Mostly trucks. You know that this is a busy route, especially because it links the cities. Lots of goods moving between the two cities here. So this has been the situation on the roads since the early hours of the morning. That accident happening at about 3 o'clock or just after 3. There is a slight diversion for some of the other vehicles where possible, but for the most part, these trucks that are here have been here and will be here for a very long time. And further on, and we'll get there in a short while, Heidi, that's where the accident cleanup operations are taking place. And I can tell you that having flown over earlier, and you would have seen those visuals as well, it's truly, truly horrific. Those visuals that had also come through during the early hours of this morning, showing the fire blazing there and how paramedics and other emergency services workers had to desperately try to work around that. It was a very dangerous scene, but unfortunately at the end of it all, that number, the last number that we are getting, was that 16 people had perished in that accident. Truly heartbreaking. They'd been traveling from Johannesburg to Harding. That's what the provincial government is telling us. And right now, it's too early to say or to even try to identify the people that were on that taxi or to confirm if there were any others that may have passed during this accident. There were other vehicles, as you mentioned in your intro, smaller vehicles that were involved, another truck. Remember, when this accident took place, there was also a secondary collision that had occurred as a result of this. This road, the N3, you know, is notorious for these types of accidents, and mostly, very often you hear that it is these heavy vehicles that are involved. And in this case, it seems that early indications point to a truck being at the center of it. The truck may have lost control, and as a result of that, that's how the other collisions took place. But there is an investigation that is ongoing that will establish that thoroughly. But I can tell you from having driven on this road, in fact, I drove along this road just on Thursday, and visibility here is very poor. There's fog at night, it's very dark, and it's really a difficult road to drive on, and a horrible accident scene. You'll see it shortly, Heidi. You'll see what's going on there as we fly along this N3 right now, showing you the traffic visuals.
Certainly, Dasen, I think let's just stay with these visuals and perhaps we can just ascertain and see what is actually going on, where this horrific accident took place. Surely it's going to take authorities and officials quite some time to get through that accident scene. But maybe just recap what you know actually happened. I know they say investigations are still underway as to what could have caused this horrific accident. But just looking at that traffic, it must have been really bad given the fact that that whole section had to be closed off, and it appears as though there is only one lane that is operating at this stage.
No, that's right, Heidi. It really was a difficult situation, and as I was saying earlier, especially for the emergency services dealing with all of this on that scene, trying to obviously to save lives, but the blaze, the fire just being too strong at that point, that resulting ultimately in the loss of life. But I mean, you know, the positive news is that 7-year-old that was saved by an RTI official that had managed to rescue the child. Fortunately, at least, he was able to do that. Another traffic official was caught up in the actual accident itself, a vehicle that was knocked there. But I can tell you that this is being prioritized by the Transport Department. Excuse me, they have said to us that they are They're sending a dedicated team, a specialized team, to look at this beyond just the normal collision unit that will be investigating. They will also be trying to find the cause, for a number of reasons, not purely just because of the loss of life, but also the location, Heidi. This, as I mentioned, is such an important route, an integral route. It can't be one that is shut down for any period of time. You'll see that we are now back at the accident scene. Lots of tow trucks that are still here. Those heavy vehicles are there. We are trying to give you the best visuals we can. Brendan is doing his best. He's our pilot. But unfortunately, there are some trees here. So I hope that you are getting a sense of what's going on below us. You'll be able to see that there's still a minibus taxi that's there. But I think where our attention has been when we just come back around will be on that central spot where those heavy vehicles are. There's a trailer that is on its side, a truck that's on its side, and you'll be able to see from that, when we get a clearer shot, how burnt out those vehicles, those small cars are. And I think whenever, I've looked at this now for the second time, Heidi, and when I look at it, I can't help but wonder what was going on there during the early hours of this morning, and how horrible it must have been to be driving towards that accident scene, or be driving in the vicinity of that while this was going on.
Dasen, I actually have goosebumps just looking at that, and having read that introduction as to how many vehicles were involved and how the bodies are burnt beyond recognition. Just for clarity's sake, and perhaps if our viewers might have missed this, because I'm just trying to understand if there were any survivors. Is it just the 7-year-old that managed to survive, and also the traffic officer that got caught up in this accident as well? Do you have any details with regards to that?
So there is no confirmation at this point, Heidi, on the exact number of survivors, although there were people that did manage to come out of this accident.